Have you ever felt like life has broken you? Like everything you've built, everything you've held on to, has suddenly crumbled beneath your feet? The weight is unbearable, the pain is deep, and you wonder if you'll ever rise again. There are moments when life feels like it has shattered your spirit, when the dream you once had seems so far away that you can hardly remember what it felt like to hope. But listen, if you feel shattered, know this: you are not alone. And more importantly, you are not forsaken. You might be broken, but your story is not over. This chapter is not your final one. God never promised us a life without pain. In fact, He made it clear in the Bible that there would be seasons of struggle. In John 16:33, He says, "In this world, you will have trouble. But take heart, I have overcome the world." Even in the depths of your brokenness, even in the moments when you can barely stand, Jesus is there. He has already overcome the trials you are facing. But let's be real. When life breaks us, when we're drowning in pain, it doesn't feel like God is near. In fact, it can feel like we've been abandoned. The silence of heaven can feel deafening, louder than our cries. And in those moments, it's easy to think that God has forgotten us. But hear me when I say this: silence does not mean absence. Just because you don't feel God in this moment doesn't mean He's not working behind the scenes. He is always there, working things together for your good. Think of Joseph. He was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused and thrown into prison. Every single moment of his journey screamed, "God has forgotten you." But in the middle of his pain, God was there. While Joseph languished in prison, God was preparing him for the palace. The very pain meant to destroy him became the platform for his purpose. His suffering wasn't in vain. It was part of God's plan for something far greater. And maybe, just maybe, that's where you are right now. You're in that in-between space, the painful waiting, the season where nothing makes sense. You're hurting, and it feels like your whole life is in pieces. But hear me, God is still writing your story. He's still in control. What you see as broken, God sees as a masterpiece in progress. You may feel like you're a pile of scattered pieces, but God is the great restorer, and He is putting you back together, piece by piece, stronger than before. Isaiah 61:3 tells us that God will give us beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. That means your suffering is not the end of your story. It means God is able to take what was meant for evil and turn it into good. The pain you feel today will one day be the testimony of God's faithfulness in your life. So what do you do when life breaks you? You trust, even when it hurts. Even when it feels like everything is falling apart, you trust that God is still working. You worship. Even when your heart is heavy, you worship. Because praise is the weapon that fights the darkness. You cling to the promises of God, because His word never fails. Romans 8:28 reminds us, "And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." Not some things, all things. That means even your heartbreak, even your loss, even your failure. God is weaving it all together for a greater purpose. Jesus understands your pain more than anyone. He was mocked, betrayed, beaten, and hung on a cross. But that very cross, the symbol of suffering, became the greatest victory the world has ever known. Through His suffering, Jesus redeemed the world. And through your suffering, God can redeem your life, your story, and your future. Your brokenness does not define you. Your pain does not have the final word. God does. And He is in the business of restoration. He is in the business of turning ashes into beauty. He is in the business of turning your mess into a message. So if life has broken you, lift your eyes, lift your heart, Lift your hands in surrender, because your story is not over. The God who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. Your brokenness will not be the end of you. It will be the making of you. And one day, you will look back and see what tried to break you only made you stronger in Him. The pain, the trials, the heartbreak will become part of your testimony of God's faithfulness and love. If you believe this, if you trust that God is still working in your life, type Amen and hold on to the hope that no matter what you're facing, God is with you.